Wow, well, what a graduation. It's been fantastic to be here, and it really has taken me back to a long time ago, 1990, when I got my PhD and came up on, I don't know if this stage or a similar stage. And it's a real delight to be here and to join you all on this very special day on all of your graduations. And standing here, I'm just so reminded of when I was at Warwick in the late 80s. I did my PhD in theoretical maths. Nobody understood at my family what on earth I was doing or why I was doing it. But I had a brilliant supervisor, Professor Sir Christopher Zeman, who founded the Maths Institute here. And he was a fantastic teacher and mentor. And I just know how important the leadership that academic staff provide in encouraging people both through their degrees, their masters, and also their PhD. When I studied, and I'm sure it's the same now, there was a great collegiate atmosphere at the Institute. And I was a student, I had no money. And I really fondly recall the subsidized tea and biscuits that the Institute gave us each day. You know, that was quite an important part of my food intake in the day. And life on campus was fun. You don't just come to university to learn brilliant things. So I loved going to the gym and the climbing wall. I did go and, of course, enjoy the union bar. I went into debates, went on demos, and it was all part of that vibrant community university life. And I also just loved the countryside around and going running and exploring. It's such a special place. So whilst I'm sure you're all rightly excited about graduating, many of you will be thinking, okay, what next? And that's where I was when I graduated in 1990. And I'm sure with a degree in Warwick, you'll have, all of you graduates here will have many, many great options. So my career pathway hasn't been a linear one. It's taken many twists and turns. So I did maths, but I wanted to do something useful with my maths. And so initially I went to Oxford to model the spread of HIV, because that was the pandemic that was sweeping the world at the time. But I got interested in the social and economics driving HIV vulnerability. And so I took a risk. I went and moved to the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine to get additional training, in my case in epidemiology and social science. And ultimately, this combination has led to me having a really varied academic career. I've led multidisciplinary research teams, working with partners in Africa, for example, to try and identify female-controlled methods of HIV prevention. I've worked with the World Health Organization and country partners to conduct large multi-country studies on women's experience of domestic violence and evaluate prevention interventions, and actually showing that domestic violence is preventable. So 8 years ago, I was seconded into government as Chief Scientific Advisor, first to the Department of International Development and then to the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. So in my job now as Chief Scientist, I give science advice to ministers and senior government officials, as well as manage our department's research funds. It's been a privilege to be in that role, which has taken me around the world and required me to provide science advice on multiple crises. So it includes Ebola, Zika, COVID, of course, as well as the breadth of impacts on climate change. So when I give advice, I draw on experts both within and outside my department, and Warwick is one of the universities we often turn to for advice. So I feel a bit guilty being here, having done a PhD in maths, because I now never write an equation. But I do think that the training I got and the approach to thinking through problems and that logic of honing in on the key issues that need to be explained to busy ministers and officials does draw on the scientific and academic training that I received here at Warwick. So, talking to you graduates who might be thinking, what next? And if you're like me and actually not quite sure what you're going to do next, my advice would be to follow your heart and try and do something that really interests you or that you care a lot about, and then just take it from there. because I think that's the way you will end up with a brilliant career. There may be a job that you'll get directly by using your training, or like me, it might be a series of steps into the unknown and unimaginable jobs that I never thought was possible, or actually didn't even know that they exist when I graduated so long ago. Your time in Warwick and the global alumni network that you are now all part of will, I hope, provide you with the grounding, skills, and support to help you do well in whatever path you end up following. So congratulations once more on your graduation, and please do enjoy the rest of the day. I wish you all the best for whatever amazing thing you go on to do next. Thank you.